Well, hi everybody. Welcome to 2013, the year of synergy and sustainability. Now, I know last year and previous years have been a little rough on a lot of us. I mean, we've had our setbacks and our shortcomings and all sorts of stuff has definitely happened. But this coming year promises to be a lot better. And I think we all want better. We want to be healthier. We probably want to be happier. We want to be more prosperous. We want to be successful. And not just for a year, but for a continued long run of living well and living long. And that's what the sustainability path is all about. The way of sustainable living is living by the various natural principles. These are natural principles that when we follow them will naturally bring us all the successes and joys that we want out of life. Now, one of the most key core principles of sustainable living, I call it, and I call it a sustainability. Actually, one of these core sustainabilities is synergy. Now, synergy is a Greek word that actually comes from the combination of sun ergos, which essentially means sun energy, and thus sun energy equals synergy. And that's where we get this word, this marvelous word synergy, because that's how the sun works. And in fact, we are small suns unto ourselves. We have this inner fire, and we want to stay fired up, a la the sun. And how does the sun do it? It does it synergistically. And by that I mean it is a whole integrated, unified system is the sun. So when we have a fire bang explosion over there, it impacts on the explosion over here, which then fires up another part of the sun over there, which then multiplies it over here. So essentially the sun keeps going and going in this totally powerful way because it's exponential in its energy, and that's what synergy is, when all the parts are working together so that the sum is more than just these 1 + 1 = 2, it's 2 to the square power, the 10th power, something like that. And because of this exponential power, we have what I call renewability. The sun keeps going and going and going. It's renewable, it reinvents, it rejuvenates, it regenerates, it refires itself. The holy grail of today is to your life, and that's what we have to do. So when you have a complete system synergistic like the sun, we're infinitely renewable because one thing will spark another thing, which keeps another thing going, which affects another thing, and so on and so forth for a long, long time. And that's what we want. So it's all about synergistic living. Now, what's really interesting, I think, about this year, I look out of curiosity at a lot of the ancient esoteric systems. And one system I like to look at is what's called numerology. Now, numerology, in the ancient world, if you were a numerologist, which is the symbolic meaning of numbers, you were also a mathematician. Now, it doesn't take much great math to figure out that 2013 adds up to the number 6. So if you look at 6 in these esoteric systems, what you have is a year of incredible connectivity. For example, in the Kabbalah, the ancient tree of life that comes from the Hebrew alphabet, the number 6, letter Vav, not sure how to pronounce it, means like a fishhook. It's the connection. It's a year or a time of connection and oneness and unity, according to the Kabbalah. And then if you look at 6 in the ancient map of life, the wisdom book disguised as a pack of cards, the tarot, look at the number 6 card, and you'll see that it's the lovers. And the lovers is all about coming together. It's all about synergy and oneness and integration and relationship that works. So it's synergistic. So it's very curious that 2013 is the year of getting it together. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we will all get it together, that it will be a year of synergy, because there is no objective future really out there. In spite of the fact that the Mayan calendar ended, we're still here. So some of these prophecies, it's not about that, it's about us, because the principle of living a prophecy is by self-fulfilling it. We are responsible ourselves for creating the future that we desire. So if we desire a sustainable future that's synergistic of prosperity and peace and energy and love and happiness and all these great things, we do it. So listen to these principles, and they are doable. Otherwise, it's just theory, and who cares? These are doable principles of how to live synergistically, and I guarantee your life will be a lot happier and more successful. Okay, so let's take a look at this first principle of sustainable synergistic living, the core principle, which I call embrace it all. Embrace it all, which means accept everything that comes into your life, embrace it, and work it. Work it, work it, work it. And so every moment, every person, every situation, every is actually energy. It's energy, and energy is the bottom line, the ultimate of sustainable, successful living. Without energy, nothing is possible. With energy, anything is possible. So it's all about inner G, and ultimately even this, what we call inner chi, inner chi. But the problem is, for a lot of us, is we don't embrace it all. We live in resistance. We don't like what happened. So, oh no, I don't like that phone call. I don't like that situation. I don't like what happened here. Oh no. And so we live in the no-ness, the negativity of resisting and defending and guarding against. Now that is not the free flow of energy. That is just keeping it in. And we're not living in our power, because we're not living with the energies of the world, of nature, of the social world, of all that's out there, because we are busy kind of blocking and defending against it because we don't like it. Well, the key to synergistic living is accept it. Even embrace it and use it, because everything is energy. So although, for example, we've had this time of breakdowns, things have broken down. Well, if you really ride the breakdown, and I'm talking about get into that energy, ride that wave, and this wave of breakdown, there will be a breakthrough. That's the way nature works. And when there's a breakup, things break up like they have, and if you get into that life of breakupness, if you will, there will be a breakout. There'll be a breakout. This is how nature works, and we are nature. I love walking out on the lava fields in Hawaii, and it's not much there. It's kind of like a desert, but when there's cracks in the lava, all of a sudden you'll see a green plant coming out, like these green plants behind me. That's the nature of life, and sustainable living is following the natural way of living. So accept these crack-ups in our lives, because those are openings for renewal and reinvention, which is what we are seeking in life. And then I guess, yeah, on a more psychological, personal level, let's say I'm angry. I'm not happy with this world. Like, But if you really get into that anger and ride that energy, because it's a wave, it's all energy, you will find your power, and you will do a breakthrough and a breakout, because that's what the fire of anger is. It's like, boom, okay, it's time for new life, newness, new beginning that's there. And some of us get into sorrow and sadness. Oh no, this person just died, and all these kind of things. Well, grieve. Let it out. Really cry. And by doing that, if you ride that energy, you are free. You are liberated, and newness can come in. And a lot of us are in fear, like, oh no, what's going to happen next? And we're holding back and we're resisting. Well, if you get into that, the soul of fear, naturally, you are going to find your fortune, because what's going to kick in is adrenaline, and adrenaline is energy. And if you ride that adrenaline, whoa, breakthroughs do happen. The most greatest inventions and people in the world have come out of fear and out of insecurity, but you got to get into it, if you know what I mean. And a lot of us feel like we're victims. Oh, poor me. You know, the bank is picking on me. Oh, the economy, there's conspiracy. Everybody's picking on me. Oh, no, you know. But ride that wave of victimization, and I guarantee it will take you to victory. So there's, you know, a lot of these, which we resist. We don't like these things, but it's energy, and if we use it, embrace it and use it, we got it. It is the source of breakthrough. And in this day and age, it ain't easy, you know? I mean, come on. It's a time of change, great change going up really, really fast. Time of speed, time of overwhelm, time of competition. It's just so much, and it's all changing, and it's all competitive. I'm exhausted, you know, and it is all about losing energy. So we need all of the energies we can bring in, all the resources and opportunities that are out there to utilize that to succeed and renew ourselves and sustain ourselves in this busy, difficult life. We need to use it all the energy that we can get. And if there's an energy crisis out in the world, I guarantee there is an energy crisis in here. So let's embrace the energies that are available to us, ride them, and we will be a lot more sustainable. So that's principle number one. And I'm going to give you the 6 great synergizers here, because we are living in this number 6 year. So we can kind of remember this. So anyway, the second synergizer, since we're talking about embrace it all, is embrace yourself. Like yourself, hey, love yourself. Why not? Because then you're living completely with yourself. If you don't like yourself, you're divided with yourself. You are not operating out of your maximum energy level. You are dividing it up. You are fracturing yourself, if you will. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that's such a self-centered thing, and that's so narcissistic, and narcissistic is a pathology. It's narcissistic behavior disorder. Of course, we're talking about extreme narcissism here. But, you know, the truth is, if you don't have some narcissism, if you don't love yourself, if you're not self-centered at some level, you're toast. I mean, you got it. This business of you are the brand, you are the business, and this business of Facebook and social media, it's all about selling and competing with others to sell yourself. You got to really like yourself and promote yourself and value yourself and worth yourself. And that ain't narcissism, ladies and gentlemen. That is sustainable behavior. And in fact, the latest studies I've read on narcissism are very interesting. Narcissists, who are not really extreme, pathologically speaking, are the best leaders, have the most charisma, and are by far the most creative. So, hey, mwah, mwah, give yourself a little kiss, and that'll be good. You're good to go. But in loving yourself, the difficult part are the so-called shadow parts, the shadow self. Those parts of ourselves we don't really like. We don't value, we don't even appreciate, we want to hide. Those parts of ourselves we want to deny. Those parts of ourselves that we want to disown and disavow and hide under the bed or in the closet or whatever, but not deal with them. And, you know, that means we're not whole again. We are not synergistic because we are in denial of certain parts of ourselves. But shadows, sides are energies also. So the idea and I've got the 4 A's here of self-healing, how to bring the shadow into the light and into power and energy for yourself. The first A is to admit. Admit that you are a procrastinator, or admit that you're messy, or admit that you have tendencies towards jealousy or something like that. Whatever. We all have we all have this stuff. Come on. It's like compost, but work your compost, and out of compost come the greatest gardens of the world. So our shadow is our compost. So let's get into it and work it, if you will. And the way to work it is admit it, and then with awareness, be aware of when those disavowed shadow tendencies come up in us. Be aware of them and then act. The third A is act on them to change it. Do something different. Don't revert back to that old habit pattern, which are deep and entrenched, not easy to change for sure. So you take action. And then the fourth A, affirm. Affirm that you are change able. You are transformational kind of being that can make these changes in your life. So I tell you, once you begin to put some awareness and action on these shadow sides, they will turn. And that compost, that garbage that we have, will turn in to a beautiful garden of riches and energy and value, and we'll love ourselves, and then we're really on fire. We are the sun, for sure. That's the second synergy. The third synergy, team you. Team you. You know, we are all like a government unto ourselves. We have to navigate our lives. We make all these decisions. And why the democracy can be a great political system and government is because there are a lot of different actors in life, and they all have equal opportunity to contribute to the decision-making, the direction that we're going. And so in our own inner self, we have four great decision makers in us. The mind, the heart, the body, and the spirit. Those four decision makers. So we want to be equal and give equal opportunity to those four governors within ourselves. And a lot of times we're excessively mental, following an idea, following a belief at the sake of, sometimes we'd rather be right than alive, So sometimes we're so hooked up with an idea, but that's only one part of ourselves. Then there's other people like, who are very emotional, follow the heart, and incredibly emotional, incredibly impulsive. And the problem with only following the heart is that you make stupid decisions. The problem with following only the mind is you might make smart decisions, but there's no heart, there's no energy behind them. So you need them both, mind and heart and body. And the body does not lie. The brain will do its weird stuff, but the body won't. So if you have a big decision to make, ask your mind, ask your heart what they feel, what they want, and ask your body what it feels, what it senses, because if your body's not up to it, I don't care how great that idea is, how energized you are by this wonderful thing. If you don't have the energy, or if you're sick or whatever, it ain't going to happen, So you have to have the alignment of your body with your heart and with your mind and with your higher self, the so-called spirit. Now, some of you may have a guardian angel. Some of you may have a saint that you pray to, a religion that you belong to, a church. Some of you may listen to that inner voice, the higher voice called intuition or something like that. And we need to have that because that's where we make the right decisions, not always the most expedient, practical decisions, not even the most ego decisions, but the most right decisions, the ones that are in our highest good and the highest level of integrity for how to live life. And so the idea is to have all four of those in alignment. And when your mind, heart, body, and spirit are integrated as one, you are operating with your full personal power. Now, I'm not saying that because you do that, you're always going to be right. It's always going to work out. You're always going to be happy. Because who knows what's ever going to happen anyway. But I do say this, and I guarantee this. If you act with this kind of synergistic inner self, a mind, heart, body, and spirit, you are coming from your full power, doing as much as you possibly can as a human being, and that's all we can do. But I do believe that when you do that, when you're coming from your full power, all of your energy, you will be successful. It will work out. Now, when it works out, that is another kind of question, okay? But just think, the next time you have a big decision to make, ask mind, heart, body, and spirit what they have to say and come to some kind of consensus agreement, and then you are on with power. Okay, now let's go to the fourth Synergizer, which, okay, if you want to live okay, how we live is what the nature of our consciousness is, how we think about, how we sense and know things, okay? And consciousness is very much determined by our language, by our thoughts, by our words, in fact. So if you want to change anything, you've got to change your languaging and your words. And there's one word I just want to kick out of my vocabulary. It's be so helpful to you. And one word we want to use all the time for synergistic living. And that word that we want to use is and. And. And is an inclusive word. So we want to include myself and the world. We want to include my light side and my shadow side. We want to include my mental and my emotional. We want to live in the and. Then we're living with all the energies that are available to us. But that's the problem. A lot of times we live in the but, yes, but, and I don't know about but, yeah, but is a left brain quality of thinking, which is only part of the brain, which is either or thinking. I think our whole brain's been hijacked by this logical, rational, analytical mind, which we have a lot more than just that. We have a right brain and a reptilian brain and a forebrain and all these kind of higher brain. But the either or brain is very exclusionary. It's like, well, yes, that's good, but that's not good. So it's either good or either bad. And that's what creates division within ourselves. And we get confused and we go into paralysis through analysis. I can't make a decision because of but. And I don't know about this and I don't know about that. And but. And when we are butting our lives, we sit on our butt and our butts get bigger, and we don't get off our butt because we're all butting around in our heads with this either-or kind of thinking. And by the way, there is a whole new pathology, which I agree with, of sitting behavior disorder, because we are sitters. And when you sit, you are sedentary and you are sedated. Sustainable living is not sustainable. So it's not just waking up in the morning and sitting at the breakfast table, sitting in the car, sitting in the bus, sitting in the train, going to your office, sitting in front of the computer, coming back and you're sitting in your car, whatever, and then sitting at the dinner table, and then sitting in front of the TV, and then dying. Sitting is the quick way to the grave, sedentary living. So, but that's what but does for you. And not only does but either or thinking put you in a sedated way of life, it also creates conflicts with other people. I mean, I absolutely believe that either or thinking is the source of all conflicts and even the source of wars, of everything that we don't like to see, of all conflicts, because I'm right, you're wrong. This is good, that's not. It's good, this is evil. And then we have natural division. So the next time you see or hear yourself use the word but, kick it out and just simply replace it with and. And it will make you feel a lot better about life, a lot better about other people, and you will be able to embrace all of yourself and all of life. I love that principle. And it's doable to get rid of the but and live in the and. The fifth principle is what I call the inner marriage. The inner marriage. Now, the inner marriage is the union within yourself of the so-called feminine and the so-called masculine principles, the yin and the yang, the animus and the anima principles of the maleness and femaleness that do live within us, okay? And it's interesting when you go back to that ancient map of life, the tarot, you look at the number 6 card, and it's called the Lovers. And the Lovers is also the card of the intermarriage, where the male and the female come together, so you are the whole person. Whole equals synergy, which equals sustainable lifestyle. That's what it's all about. So for all of us, man or woman, embrace the feminine. And the feminine side is very open, very receptive. It's very people-centric. It's about relationships. It's about empathy. It's about getting along, okay? And to me, it's symbolized by water, that openness and the softness. It's soft power, if you will. Whereas the so-called masculine, so for men and women, we also want to embrace this, it's the fire side. It's that male dynamic that wants to go out in the world and have an idea, come from the mind, now, not so much from the heart that the feminine comes from, but come from a mental idea and strike out for it. It's the fire energy to project and achieve and be success in the world, the outside world. The feminine power is much more internal, much more introspective, more soft and open. The idea is be both. And so when you have fire and you have water, you have a natural chemistry alchemy of fire and water coming together and creating, boom, steam, heat. So when you bring together the so-called masculine and feminine inside yourself, you have a natural alchemy of self-creation. Creativity comes out of the mix of opposites here. So we need to cultivate that. And when you are constantly creative, balancing and mixing these opposites, you are renewable because you are recreatable, essentially. And I must say this, one way of living, one modality of living, whether it's a male way or whether it's a female way, if you just constantly only that, it's good to know that repetition kills. The same old leads to being old. Very, very old, and not being able to stay young, grow young, and be renewable here through the alchemy of synergizing the opposites. So if you're just doing the same thing, death by sameness is what I call it. And it may be comfortable, but it's death by comfort everywhere. So it's life by mixing and matching and mating the opposites. It's called personal diversity. So make this vow to yourself to marry both parts, the male and the female, in you, and you will be a lot happier and way more successful. Now, the sixth principle of synergistic living is, we're all talking, I think we're talking some really cool things here, wonderful things, and all true. I really do believe this, and I know this. And if your body is not up for doing this, who cares? Who cares what we're talking about here? It's only talk. It's about, come on, dude. Hey, have the energy, have the health, have the body. It's the temple of the spirit here is the body. So come on, get this body working and get it fit for life. And then you can really do all of these things that we're talking about. And so I want to give you what I call the synergy workout. And it's a workout that I do that's changed my life in the last 5 years of my life. When I was 65, 5 years ago, I was like, I'm really crapping out. I'm boring, I'm losing it, I don't have the energy. And I read an article by the brain scientists, the neuroscientists, who know by science that if you would just walk out in nature, where all the energy is, in nature, just walk briskly and breathe hard for maybe half an hour, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, your brain cells get younger. You grow new brain cells. So, hey, not only is this a great workout for the body, and you're getting all of nature's natural light and air and all that kind of stuff. It's not a gym fitness thing. Anybody can walk, basically, most of us can, and walk outside. For not a long time, we can all do this. It's not about a technique of how to breathe. It's just breathe fast and breathe hard, as you walk briskly. That's all it is. But why I say this is such a great synergistic workout is not only do you get smarter, brain cells, remember, they grow, you stay in shape, walking, and you can do the walk workout forever. I cannot run the marathons I used to run because my knees crapped out. Too much repetition, too much stress. Walking is the sustainable workout of all time. So, but you also get your heart pumping, but you don't get a heart attack doing this kind of thing. I mean, one of the great writers about running, of course, died during a race of a heart attack because that's can be tremendous stress on you. You don't need that. You just don't need that. Walk, but walk briskly. So it gets your heart pump going, keeps your heart healthy. And finally, in India, in the Hindu spiritual tradition, there's what they call prana. Prana is the breath of life, and that is spirit. the great life force, spirit, comes in through the breathing, through the breath that's there. And so when you're breathing, this is aerobics here, you are going to live in an inspirited way, because spirit comes in, so you are inspired. I know, I can't tell you the number of times I've gone for walks. I'm going, God, what am I going to talk about? What's my class? What am I going to lecture? I don't know. And I start walking and walking fast, and boom, boom, and all of a sudden this profusion of ideas coming with the breath, the life force. So it's inspired living. So this walking aerobic practice, if you will, is great for mind, heart, body, and spirit. And that's the 6 great synergizers. So the results of doing this, I guarantee, if you follow and do these 6 synergizers, you will have love in your life. You will be much more connected to yourself, much more connected to the world. You will embrace and accept and work with all people in your life, because it's all energy. It's all energy. And by the way, I'm going to be doing a couple more YouTube talks about synergy. One, synergy of love relationships, and synergy in work relationships. So stay tuned for those. And not only will you have more love, but you will have a lot more inner peace, because you won't be fighting with yourself. You'll like yourself. You'll love yourself. You won't be distant from your shadow side. Your mind will talk to your heart, by the way. You won't be divided internally, and you'll be at peace, at one with the world around you. Peace, peace, peace. We love that. Love and peace and energy. Oh, no doubt we're going to have energy and creativity. So if you have those 4 values, incredible values of love and peace, and creativity and energy, you are good to go. Those are 4 absolute guaranteed results by following living these 6 sustainabilities. So, hey, I love talking about this stuff. This stuff really, really works. And thank you for tuning into this. And I want you to stay tuned for more. Remember, this is the year of synergy and sustainability, and you are responsible for it, and you can do it. So let's all do it together.